You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. It's 12/21/21. Interesting date for sure. Happy winter to all of you out there. And is the stock market or the financial markets going to turn into a winter scenario, minus the lovely Christmas decorations, more the freezing tundra of investment opportunity? Well, here to share his wisdom with us, noted financial expert Brad Williams of Brad Williams Financial Services. Brad, always great to have you on the show. So it's been a little bit of a bloodbath on Wall Street, but I guess as the famed author Mark Twain once said, rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated, huh?
That's right. Well, and it helps when you're the only game in town, because it's hard to find anything else but stocks that pay anything these days.
Real estate, I guess, is up there, but it's hard to find good income-producing real estate at an attractive cap rate, right?
You're exactly right, because prices have gone so sky high.
Yeah, so, but still, it is a leveraged investment. Brad, we're in inflationary times here. What do you think the net effect on the stock market is going to be of increased inflation? The government admits it's, over 6%. On the producer's side, they're saying it's close to 10%. Others who are experts in calculating inflation say it's running north of 10%, as high as 14%. Transitory or intransient is the question.
Well, and what I heard somebody say recently made a lot of sense. Is it transitory or is it permanent? And the correct answer would be, well, both. Simply because even though it's a transitory bump, when's the last time we saw prices recede due to lack of inflation? So it's kind of like a high water mark. Your bump in inflation may actually stop at some point or drastically slow down, but you never retract the ground you lost prior to that. And as you were asking about the market, as long as interest rates remain in the areas they are now, very, very artificially low, the stock market's still going to be an attractive place to put your money. The problem's going to come when the Federal Reserve has to truly mirror the inflation rate with the cost of money, and that's going to be your market downfall.
All right. And that will be the economy's downfall, because everything is going up because of hyper leveraging, because of inflationary creation of money and artificially low interest rates. What would happen to the housing market? What would happen to the stock market if interest rates were just at 5%, which is a lot closer to their, on government bonds, a lot closer to their historic norm?
Yeah, and when you think about it, you're exactly right. My understanding of 10-year Treasury historical averages is right around 4.5% to 5%. So if 10 years are paying 1.6 now, something like that, if they got to historic models, we'd be paying 3 times the amount on our national debt in actual cash every year than we are now, which would crowd out private borrowers and put a already over-leveraged government in some deep problems, as if they're not already in them now.
Yeah, so caution is the byword ahead. What does Joe Sixpack do to just try to keep up with inflation, maybe stay a little bit ahead of it, and just to protect the value? Hey, Steve Chardonnay, he's in the same boat as Joe Sixpack, right?
Yeah, that's right. Kerry, we have to say we're in uncharted waters, because we've never had the amount of government debt that we have now. I mean, massive, massive government debt with extremely low interest rates, and a Congress that spends like a drunken sailor on shore leave. And, when all these things come together and the bill comes for the piper, that's the problem America's going to have to deal with, because, I always laugh at people that the blue orb on my desk, glass orb, is the closest thing I have to a crystal ball when they ask me which way the markets are going. But I can tell you one thing, when all that stuff happens, it's not going to be fun for Joe Sixpack or Mr. Chardonnay.
Hey, well, just remember, you should apologize to drunken sailors, because really comparing them to Congress is the ultimate insult. So let's be respectful of our drunken sailor servicemen, please. But in all seriousness, we're getting to the end game here, aren't we? It's going to be, you can't inflate anymore. If you inflate too much, then the dollar goes down. Then we have a dollar crisis, a currency crisis. If you raise rates to try to control inflation, then we have an economic issue and we have a stock market issue. It seems like the Fed is in the business of supporting the stock market and, of course, in the business of supporting the large banks.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Torque Resources is an exploration company establishing a portfolio of premier copper-gold early-stage projects in Chile. Torque's management and technical teams have a strong track record of raising capital, discovery, and monetization of exploration successes. The company's Margarita copper-gold project is located within the prolific coastal Cordillera Belt in Chile, which hosts some of the world's largest and most profitable copper mines. The Margarita project possesses excellent discovery potential for a major copper discovery due to the strength of the alteration system, large-scale magnetic targets, and the presence of copper oxide mineralization. Drilling is anticipated to begin in Q3 of this year. Torque trades in Canada under TORQ and on the OTC under TRBMF. To learn more, go to torqueresources.com. That's torqueresources.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
You're exactly right, and it's just there's going to be real issues for America now. Our advantage is, of course, we're still the reserve currency for the most part for the world, and that gives us leveraging power that other countries don't have. But if we keep doing what we're doing, then these countries they can look ahead. They don't need a crystal ball to look ahead. They can be saying, America's getting ready to lose its preeminence. It's not going to be at the top of the pile anymore. And when that happens, we have even more factors that are going to come into play that will change the dynamics of investing forever.
Yeah, and that day inevitably is coming. So you need to be a defensive investor, but you can't be so defensive that you get no return. And yet, if you look for return, then you're going to be getting into high risk, especially exposed to inflation. Do you go for high yield dividend stocks, or what do you do?
Well, I've got a lot of my clients in a blend, and my management team, we're watching that, using high dividend blue chip stocks. We're using preferreds for income. It depends on where you are in the stage of your life, because in reality, as bad as it could get, if you're 30 years old, it's a buying opportunity. So when you're 70 years old, you got troubles. So it really depends on where you are in that mountain climb of life. As you're doing the accumulation stage of life and you're building, when these market dips happen, you got buying opportunities. But when you're on the other side in the distribution phase, that can be disastrous. And that's why you manage your portfolios different. So if 70-year-olds are still using the same mutual funds they were using when they were 30, then they need to rethink that.
So whatever happened to the simple days when you could go with Peter Lynch and just take a walk down Wall Street?
Really?
A walk down the mall, and you could just say, oh, that one's doing good. Let's buy that one. Now the mall is in all likelihood a ghost mall with trees growing out of the food court. And now you're wondering, well, what do we do? How do we deal with this? And life has gotten much more complicated, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. And you're right, because that's was one of Peter Lynch's philosophies is go to the mall and see what people are buying. And I know around here, we've got one mall left that is fairly trafficked, but for the most part, it's strip centers or people are buying online. I tell you, great investments is the companies that make cardboard boxes because they're the ones really booming.
A while ago, the U.S.'s fifth largest export to China was recycled cardboard from boxes. And then one day China woke up and said, well, we don't want their garbage. How dare they? And they stopped it. Now I think we're exporting it to some other places, but really the nerve of these people. So when one of your leading exports is garbage, eventually the world's going to stop consuming it, aren't they?
You're exactly right. You look back at some of these nostalgic pictures from old Christmases and all, and that's when everybody wanted to buy our goods. And we were, in the 50s coming out of the war. I mean, we had the world in our hands, and like so often, it's like what they say about a fortune. You have the person who created it, the next generation that manages it, and then the third generation squanders it. And we're kind of seeing that now.
Well, I always thought the talk about how you make a small fortune on Wall Street, start with a large one, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Seems to be an effective way, or how do you make a small fortune in Las Vegas? Start with a large one. But we're obviously in a really maybe a very dangerous time, huh?
Yeah, and I think when it comes to your finances and when people are looking at financial advisors, they really need to talk to their advisor about what his thoughts are and what if plans, what if this happens, what if that happens. And because so often they have this pie in the sky attitude of it'll go up, and when it goes down, we're in it for the long haul. But it just depends on what stage of life you're in, and you just need to have the type of investment suitable for where you are in your life.
All right. And I know you can help with that. So if you got a question for Brad, just shoot us an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. We will get you an answer, and you'll see a link to Brad's site in the show notes of this interview. Just click there. You could go right to his site. And don't forget to sign up for your free newsletter. Brad, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Hope that whatever happens isn't going to happen the day after Christmas. Right. Luckily, Christmas comes on a Saturday, same with New Year's. So the first trading day will be a Monday. Monday's less likely to have crashes than Fridays, right?
That's right. By then, the hangovers will be over.
Or the hangover will just be beginning. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. Thank you, Kerry.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.